actually pretty invested in the idea of Natasha with actually either or both of you guys, and now obviously she's with Bruce. What do you guys make of that?
She's a slut. I was gonna say something along that line. It's a complete whore. What a trick, man.
What's going on, everyone? It's Nina Infinity. Welcome to my channel on this Sunday where we will be reviewing Ted Lasso on Apple TV+. It's a really special little show that was recommended to me almost a year ago by Kai MFS, who I sent the invite to, but he hasn't seen my message. But maybe we'll see it and join us later on. Until then, we have our very amazing panelist, Script Doctor's here. Hi, Script Doctor.
Hello, thanks for having me today. Can't wait to talk about this show.
Yes, there's so much to talk about. I have things to say, both positive and negative. I didn't hate the show. I actually really enjoyed it. But there's definitely some constructive criticism that I would like to impart. But before we get there, we got also Ms. Martin Muses.
Hello. Hi. Yeah, I'm so excited. We're ready to talk real football.
Yeah.
Premier League, yes.
I know, because Teresa is also an actual soccer fan. So football fan. Because, you know.
Everyone in the planet calls it football except for America.
Yeah, but which I have always found really weird because I'm from Iran and that's like second life to us over there, and same with Mexico and everyone here. It's like football.
And Ireland, it was the same way. It was football.
Yeah. But you do use the foot a lot, so whatever.
Sense. Yeah,
I'm neither here or there, but I really like. I actually really like the fact that they do make fun of that quite a bit in this show. So that's really cool. But before we get into this, the nitty gritty, I forgot to get Script Doctor to introduce himself. So please tell everyone where they can find you, Script Doctor.
You can find me on Twitter at ScriptDoctorPhD. I also have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/ScriptDoctor, where I do reviews and breakdowns of film and television. Currently on hiatus as I am writing film and television, so
yeah, he's
when
doing
that stops,
things.
I'll go back to the videos.
And we also have Miss Martin Muses, of course, and please tell everyone where they can find you, Teresa.
Well, you can find me here on YouTube, Miss Martin Muses, where I talk about what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or what really ticks me off. I've got some Silmarillion book club action going on, and this week I'm going to be talking about the Indiana Jones trilogy as well.
That's amazing. Kai, I was just talking about you. I said I invited you for tonight, but I didn't get a response back. So I'm sending you the link now. If you want to join us, you're more than welcome to, because as I said, Kai was the first person who ever told me about the show. And I did tell him that I was going to invite him when we do review it. So I am a woman of my word. The link has been sent out to you, Kai. So if you're available, please join us. And right off the bat, we have Mr. Tickle Trunk in the chat. Hello, Mr. Tickle Trunk. Toonie says, I love this show. Thank you for spreading the word. And this is actually a really good segue into like this rant that I wanted to go into, because I feel like a lot of the times in this community specifically, I don't know. You want to call it the old fandom menace community, whatever label you want to put on it, the fellowship, whatever label. We're really, a lot of times we are accused of being haters and just constantly talking about negative things about different things that we don't like in TV shows, like what we don't like about Star Wars and what we don't like about Marvel and Doctor Who and Star Trek and so on and so forth. And a lot of times we get accused of not talking about things we actually like because, well, things we like don't get a lot of views, and that's totally fair and it's fine. It is what it is. That's the YouTube game. But on this channel, I like to focus on things I do like and tell people about things I do like. That's why we reviewed, for example, Severance, which is also a TV show on Apple Plus that you guys should definitely check out. Different type of show. It's not comedy. Well, it's got comedy elements, but it's not the same thing. But it's good. It's a good TV show, and we like to review good TV shows here as well and talk about what's good out there so that we can tell you guys to go watch those things and give you another another out and get away instead of just focusing on the negative all the time. That's how I do things on this channel. So if you guys ever if you do have recommendations that you want us to check out, I'm always open to it. You can tag me on Twitter, Nina7Infinity, send us messages, whatever, and we will check them out at some point. Maybe not like immediately, but it will be gone on a list and checked out. So having said that, again, before we get into all of this crazy cool stuff that we're going to talk about, I'm also going to talk about other things that I liked because this weekend I got to go to a Mexican fair, and it was really, really fun. I got to go there yesterday, and I saw a couple of things on this like nerdy little booth that I had to have. And one of them, hold on, I'm going to start with this one. One of them was this one. It's a little box that says Star Wars on it. And it's got, I think that's Revan.
Is it a Jedi in the box?
Yes. No.
A Jedi in the box? Oh, no.
Well, it has a crank on it.
It does. You'll see what it is. So there's that thing. There's like Darth Vader and the Siths. You got Yoda on the back. And you got Chewie on the other side. And then when you open it, it says, "May the Force be with you." And it's a little music box. And I don't know if you can hear this, but if you crank it.
There we go. Oh, and you're demonetized.
And that is that. But that was cool. I like that. And guess what? I didn't pay Disney Star Wars any money because this is a little Mexican fair that doesn't give money to those people. But there was also this cool box. They had the same thing. It's very intricate and beautiful. It's like wooden. And on the inside, it says, "Trouble usually finds me." And it's a little Harry Potter one. And it's got...
Nice.
Isn't that cool?
Yay.
I was dying. I was like, I need to have these. And I bargained too. Like I bargained with the seller, so I got a discount. So it was fun. And I thought I should show that off. I don't know why. It has nothing to do with Ted Lasso. It's not a soccer ball, but it was still fun. And I thought I should show it off because that's cool. But yeah, so I'm demonetized now. Okay.
At least John Williams gets that money though. For the copyright claim. Well, That's true. I'll just let him have it. Hypothetically.
It's fine. Oh my God, that's so funny. And then Mr. Tickle Trunk with another $5 says, "Hi, Trent Krim here, the Independent. Care to comment on the feelings that season 1 has to find its footing before the main story really kicks in?" That's a really good question. Terrible English expression, of course, but thank you, Mr. Tickle Trunk. I have lots of feelings, and let's get into this. Let's get into this episode or this series. Script Doctor, why don't you give us your overall thoughts of season 1 and 2?
I was really surprised how strong season 1 started out. I knew every person's role, what they wanted, what they didn't want. Nate the Great was a really cool character. Rebecca, my God, why wasn't this woman cast as Wonder Woman? Look at her body. She's statuesque, she's tall, she's curvy, she's muscular. Yeah, she's a little old, but my God, she looks like a superhero. Like Jason.
She could have been Wonder Woman's mother. She was so. I agree. She's like really beautiful.
Like 10 years ago, she would have been Wonder Woman, and people would have bought into it, hook, line, and sinker.
And my God, her voice too.
Yeah,
like, blew me away.
I liked her method. This was essentially Major League, the movie Major League for soccer football fans. Only the difference being is that they bring in the coach, who is the most chipper guy, like crazy positive, almost to a fault. and you're just kind of thrown for a loop. And I liked the first season quite a bit. I liked the dynamic. I liked the characters, the relationship. I like the fish out of water stories where Ted Lasso is trying to figure out the game as he's coaching it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I thought it was a pretty strong start. Do we want to wait till you go to season 2 then?
Yeah, just wait until we go to season 2,
Sure.
because we'll just start with season 1 first. Teresa, what were your overall thoughts of the season 1?
Oh, absolutely adored it. My family convinced me to start watching it, so I was a little bit behind at first, but holy crud. I felt like I was being manipulated almost from the beginning. We were supposed to like Ted Lasso. We were supposed to like this. We were supposed to laugh here. But here's the thing. We did. I did. I laughed at the right places. I'm like, okay, somehow there is a perfect combination here that you're selling me on all of this. You're totally convincing me. And I was also surprised at how unbelievably moving and almost melancholy some of the stuff was, especially with Ted and his wife, and some of the stuff that Rebecca was going through, and the themes of forgiveness and all of that. I love
redemption. There's a lot of stuff going on here. I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd be the biggest liar on planet Earth if I said that it was perfect, that there weren't moments that didn't work, an occasional beat that didn't work, that there were some rough areas. But in general, I absolutely adored it, and I adored the characters. And to go to a little bit what Script was saying, I thought it was very clever of them, especially for American audiences, that because Ted Lasso was the American who maybe didn't know what was going on, people that maybe didn't follow the Premier League or didn't maybe even know rules or things like offsides, it allowed people to learn about it through the character of Ted Lasso.
Yeah, Teresa, really good points. Let me start off by saying that this is going to be a spoiler review, you guys, as usual with the recaps and reviews. We're going to be talking very detailed stuff about the episodes, and we're going to be going through both seasons. So I highly recommend, if you haven't watched it, to go and watch it first and then come back. But if you want to know just off the beat what it's about an American football coach, American football, not soccer, who basically goes through something in his life and decides to take a coaching job in Britain as a soccer coach instead of football. And he has no idea what soccer is about other than what soccer is. He doesn't know the ins and outs. He doesn't know the rules. He doesn't know anything about it. And it's a comedy show, and it's on Apple Plus. And the show is just basically on the idea of how he adjusts to this, why he's going there to begin with, why would anyone do this to themselves, and it's a really, really fun show. So I was the same way as you guys. Like I thought that show was really great, especially season 1 had a lot of different themes that I really liked, and a lot of strong characters, like the ones that you described, Script Doctor and his assistant coach. I really liked Beard. I think that's what his name was.
Beard is cool.
Yeah, Beard is awesome. I really like the players. The angry dude, I forget his name. I really, really like him. And I really like
Roy Kent. Yeah.
Yes, Roy Kent. I really like Roy Kent.
I love the bar. Everyone at the bar is great.
Yes, and I really yes. And I really like Danny Rojas. He was probably one of my favorite ones because he's just like kept running around being like Danny Rojas, and I was just like, dude,
football is life. Football is
life. Until it wasn't, and that episode I was dead. Like I was on the floor. I did not expect what happened.
Poor Earl Greyhound.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh my God, when he killed that dog. Just like, this did not just happen.
It was brilliant, and it broke him all the right ways.
Yes, and of course the other one that I really, really liked was, I mean, this is such a strange show where you have a lot of side characters that are just really lovable, like Trent Grimm. I really like him from The Independent, and it was really funny because originally when we started watching the show, it's like, are we gonna get this guy's going to be the enemy? You think to yourself, oh, this guy's going to be the enemy, like Trent Grimm, because he starts out as the kind of
Pompous
like
journalist.
the antagonist kind of journalist, and he's been put in this gotcha moment, like, is he gonna gotcha Ted? And then he ends up not gotchaing Ted because Ted is just such a genuine individual, so you can't really fault him, and the guy ends up like rooting for him. And I thought that was really cool, the way that they had shown that even journalists are human beings. Mind you, that could be a little bit of a fault on their part because they're not enough shit.
Oh, the scene of those two guys in the restaurant eating the spicy food was just awesome.
That was a great. Was that in episode 1? Let me go and find that.
Oh no, it was. It might have been even the third one.
Because they bring
the
back
actual
the
title of it was
from the first
the title
episode.
of the episode was Trent from Independent. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there he is. Okay, I found him in episode 1. Here he is, just so people can know who we're talking about. This is Trent from episode 1. This is when he's introducing himself to Ted for the first time. And the idea is that basically the lady that Script Doctor mentioned, her character, what was her name again?
Rebecca,
thank you. So Rebecca's been in this kind of nightmarish situation where her husband has been cheating on her with multiple different women, and he's a really rich dude, and he owns the football club, but he basically lost it and they're divorced to her. And she's just finding out like, I also really like that guy.
The assistant.
He's great. The assistant.
Downton Abbey.
There he is. Oh my God, was he in Downton Abbey?
Yes,
what?
He was the butler for the mother, the old grandmother.
Oh
Higgins,
my God, you're right. That's where like he's so familiar, and I was like, I don't know who he is, but he's so familiar. And now, oh my God, you're right. So, and then so in the very first season, she's the antagonist, kind of like at the very beginning. You're like, oh, okay, she's a bit of a bitch. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. She doesn't give a fuck. She's going to go out and, try and hurt this husband, even if it means to ruin his football team. And that's her goal, is to basically ruin this football team and ruin it for the city and for everybody because she's been so wronged. And what's funny was that her entire character in the first season kind of reminded me of Kathleen Kennedy. And I was like, this is kind of exactly what Kathleen Kennedy decided to do with Star Wars, as if she was scorned by.
There's no Ted Lasso at Lucasfilm that can.
Yeah.
No happy person.
It's like as if she was just really scorned about all the nerdy dudes like in her life being like, I don't know, whatever. And then she was just kind of like, fuck you guys, I'm gonna take over Star Wars and then ruin it. And she did, but there's, like you said, there's no Ted Lasso to change her.
To bring her sweet cakes every morning.
Biscuits with the boss.
Biscuits with the boss. And that's exactly what he does, is that he has this kind of like characteristic where it's really hard for people to say no to him because he's so nice. He's got that like Texan charm with the Southern charm. He's very, very sweet man, and he starts bringing her like sweets every morning so that she can maybe lighten up a little bit and open up, put down her wall, and it works. After a while it starts working. And it's really cool the way that he built that. Mind you, I was thinking to myself, man, like, how is she not gaining weight? Like,
you see, take a look at her body. She works out like a champ. She has to.
I was gonna say she's got the metabolism going.
Absolutely.
Like,
I mean, look at her.
that.
She's beautiful. She's a beautiful lady. 100%. There
how
are many.
Could anyone leave that or cheat on that woman?
He's obviously an idiot. Well, I love the way Keeley is just all into her. Like I would totally go lesbian for you and loving her boobs. Like when she saw the naked picture of the boobs.
Temple, yeah.
I'm like a teenage boy. I can't stop staring.
Oh my God. She's also 10 feet tall. Yeah, that is true.
I don't care.
That's why you're saying she's like an Amazonian, man.
Well,
like
look at that photo right now. You can see shoulder and bicep definition on her arms, and yet they don't lose any femininity.
No.
Exactly. And she's gorgeous. And of course, I keep thinking, shame, shame, shame. You know, such a different character from Game of Thrones.
Absolutely. I mean, she's just so elegant and beautiful and feminine and the like just showing how a powerful woman, can be and can have an effect on certain things. And I really I really like that. I like that they did that, and I liked that Ted Lasso, the show, focused on her redemption arc as well. And I thought that was really, really cool. So from here on out, we're gonna start getting into spoilers, you guys, just FYI. So if you guys want to even start talking about season 2 script, well, like we can, because we're
I
not
just
gonna
like the fact
do it on
that
every
Ted
episode.
Lasso hates tea and he can't drink bubbly water. It's just hysterical.
That was one of my favorite jokes because we're heavy tea drinkers in Iran as well. We're very tea focused. So when I came to Canada, it was a weird thing to transition to coffee. I mean, now I'm a coffee girl. Look at this. Like I'm still like no coffee, no worky. That is me. I'm a coffee girl at this point, but I can understand certain people that just can't go from tea to coffee. And I loved how he was always like, it just tastes like water with fucking disgusting flavor. It makes no
Yeah,
sense.
brown water. And he was like, he assumed it was some sort of elaborate practical joke. It's like, y'all don't really like it, do you? And they're like, yes, we do.
Yeah, I don't remember which episode it was, but I love it when Beard finally got into tea, and then he was like, I actually kind of really like tea. I just didn't know how to tell you. And it's just like,
And he's
oh,
sipping beer, yeah.
it was really funny. But yeah, so what else? Okay, so you know what? Let's do this. Who is your favorite character, Script Doctor?
Oh man, probably Higgins.
Really?
He's just so endearing, and I like the fact that he cares so much about the club that he's willing to like leave his office for a year so someone else can use it. And he
I
works out. And he works from the
know.
gym or closet or anything. He's got a wonderful family. I love the fact that he hosts Christmas for the players that aren't able to go home for the holidays. He's like a British Ted Lasso, but he just doesn't have the confidence of Ted Lasso.
Yes.
But he slowly builds that up over the course of the 2 seasons. I just absolutely adore him, and I also really like Roy Kent's niece. She's a cutie.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
she's
Like
adorable.
she's got a journal for a pound for every curse word Roy says, and she's at like 3,000 pounds or something for the month.
Oh my God, that episode where they were talking about how like she was swearing and he was like trying to tell her like not to swear. I was like, dude.
And swears as he's doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's like, you need to fucking stop swearing. And it's just like the chick's like, okay, uncle. That's great. Okay, that's a great character. Teresa, who's yours?
This is a hard one because I love them all. I would have to narrow it down to Keely. I love Keely. I think she's awesome on
That's
like
great.
every level. Just she's a model, so she's gorgeous and all that, but she's good at heart and she's funny, and the way she helps Rebecca, helps bring Rebecca out of her shell, and then they become best friends, and how she finally
I
falls
really
in love with Roy Kent.
Yeah, I really like how they kind of started her out as this like kind of like bimbo girl, like that didn't know what she was doing and like who she was really. Like she was just kind of like, in a way, she was lost, didn't know her own value because, like, as she said, she was kind of got famous for like nothing really, like, because she was like, she's kind of like an Instagram model.
Yes.
And, she was just kind of very like, didn't have a lot of self-confidence, didn't really know herself. And then she gets to know Rebecca, and they kind of start really helping each other like feel comfortable in their own feet, in their feet. and Rebecca respectfully, because she's getting divorced and becoming single and just, wanting to understand what that means for her, and Keely going out on her own professionally and actually adding to, becoming a professional boss, a professional woman in that setting, and kind of like taking the reins and everything like that. Those things are really, really cool in a character, in terms of like character building and stuff like that. I thought that they did a really good job, because at first you think she's really dumb, but
Yeah.
she's really smart and she's got a lot of cool ideas, and she starts like implementing them, and you see that growth. And I also really liked her love story with Roy. They kind of did like the love story thing where, it's kind of like the love triangle, because she's,
Yeah.
at first she's with
Jamie Tart.
the Jamie Tart, and he's the asshole of the of the group. And I think that Jamie Tart's character is also really fascinating, because
Yes.
it kind of shows like how uh you can be misunderstood. Like, it's like he's clearly going through something in his personal life, which is why he outwardly expresses himself the way he does. I'm trying to find a good picture of Jamie Tart.
Yeah, the way he's like a bully and a total dick, and then you find out he was bullied his whole
That's
life by
right.
his father. And the scene when they're breaking the curse of all the ghosts from like World War One when they're on the pitch.
I
And
love that episode.
oh, that episode's amazing. And then the fact that Jamie kind of brings that up, and you start to see that's when he becomes a part of the club, and that's when Rebecca runs it all. But I love the way that they just flipped the script a little bit, that we just thought he was going to be the dick the whole time, and then he actually becomes one of the best characters.
Absolutely. I mean, it kind of shows that you can go from having a villain to not, and also vice versa, because there's another character that started out very good and originally started as my favorite character, because I was like, oh, I love this guy. He's such a great character. I really like him. And then by the end of season 2, he's literally going to be the antagonist for the 3rd season.
I wanted to punch him in his stupid little face.
I did too. I was so mad. I mean, this guy though, like first of all, great actor, like 100%.
Nick Mohammed, yeah.
Yeah, shout out to his acting ability. I think he's just wonderful. In the first season, when he's kind of like the shy, what was he at first? He was kind of like the water boy. He's like the assistant.
Yeah, he's like the gaffer.
He's a towel boy, technically, or
Yeah.
the equipment manager.
Equipment manager. That's right. That's what he was. He's like the equipment manager / water boy / towel boy, whatever you want to call it. And he had a lot of good ideas. So Ted, being this really ignorant American man that has no idea what's going on, ignorant in terms of soccer rules, he's like, oh, maybe I should take the help that is offered by this guy who clearly knows all the players, clearly knows the game. I'm going to start listening to him, and starts listening to his advice. And, the team starts doing better and better because of this guy's advice. And at first he's just so meek and shy and doesn't really want to say anything, but Ted kind of gets him to open up, tells him, the things that he needs to hear to gain that confidence, and then, open up his shell, and then ends up, well,
biting the hand that feeds him. That's what he does. He bites the hand that feeds him, the ungrateful little F.
He does.
Well,
and go ahead.
He gets attention, and then whenever that gets threatened, he gets insecure. And what's actually true is, like, he has a speech at the end of season 2 about his relationship with Ted, and it's 100% correct. Ted Lasso gives him all this attention and friendship at the start, and then it slowly starts to be a distance, and you don't really see why it's a distance. There's nothing really else going on with Ted that would suggest that he shouldn't be engaging with this guy and essentially mentoring him to be a coach, which is what he's actually doing at the start. He's like, hey, Nate the Great, you have good ideas. Let's translate those good ideas to a coaching method, and I'll teach you what I know and all that other stuff. And he starts learning, and he starts becoming really good, to the point where they reward him with an actual assistant coaching job. And someone does his job, and then he gets jealous of the new guy doing his job because it's not the way he likes it. So that's his insecurity there. And then when Ted starts going through certain panics, and he takes over, and it turns into a victory, he gets an ego boost. And then when the boost socially dies down, and he starts getting hate on Twitter and other Instagrams and all that stuff, that's when he starts getting resentful. And with Ted not there to be that voice of encouragement and reason and happiness to say, yeah, you got to push that bad stuff out and just go be a goldfish, be a goldfish. All he ends up doing is holding on to that grudge and resentment. And he ends up becoming, by the end of the season 2, the protagonist, the antagonist, a coach of a rival team that could prevent them from is it getting out of regulation? Is that it? Or I can't remember.
No, they moved up at the end of it.
They did
up
move
in
up.
the end.
Yeah, they're back in the and they need to win the whole FUCKING thing, which was a great line from Ted because that's the only time he cursed. He said the F-bomb. Yeah. So, and then because Rupert was such a douche, he went and bought the other team. So that
Rupert is Rupert. Just FYI, Rupert is Rebecca's husband. Everybody, the one that cheated on her.
Oh yeah.
And this is the second time that actor's played a Rupert, because the first one was Rupert Giles from Buffy.
Yeah, dude, I was totally thinking about that too. I was like, isn't that Rupert from Buffy? And I thought it was really funny that it was that it just turned out the way it did. And here he is in season 2.
Yeah.
This is like literally the last shot. Where his hair is even changed.
Yep,
Well, his hair goes white every time he goes more evil.
Exactly, you have to have a physical change, and he's at West Ham United.
Yep,
like that bastards.
Yeah, and so he's changed jerseys and everything, and that this is the crazy part about the show is that like he becomes basically like the next the setup for the next season. Now, okay, so we have Mad Mardigan in the house. Hi, Mad. Good to see you. And he said something interesting here where he says, I love this show, but it's difficult to put aside the fact that he made the choice to be 3,000 miles from his son. Ted is a great dude to everyone, but his son, and that sucks. You know what's weird is I thought about this subject as well. And this is why I thought that this show is really interesting and really cool. Because I'm a big proponent of the nuclear family. And this is one of the things that I didn't like about the show as well. But in turn, not what you said specifically, but I didn't like the reason that that he was separating from his wife. Because I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of like a cop-out thing when they're like, oh, she's just like, oh, I just don't love you anymore. Like, and it's, I don't know. I just feel like it's just so difficult for me to grasp something like that. Like when you choose to have a child with someone that you love and
he's been with her for 20 years.
Yeah. And it's just like there's just so much history there. And she's like, at one point I remember she was like crying and she's like, I'll try to love you the way I used to. And he's just like, dude, I don't need that from you, and I don't know. It just didn't sit right with me.
It's a her problem. It's not a marriage problem. It's a her problem.
Yeah, exactly.
She tries to blame him that she can't handle all of his positivity, but it's like, no, a positive person, someone like that, you either fall in love with or you despise within about a month. Like you don't get married and get with them. And
I'll tell you what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Every time she opened up her mouth, I was yelling at the TV, what's his name? Because that's the excuse bullshit people do when they're having an affair.
See that I thought about that too, Teresa. I was like, I wonder who she's banging because
she's banging somebody.
I thought so too. Like I really did. I thought that there was somebody that she's banging that we don't know about, and and I thought they were gonna go that route, that we're gonna find out that he's being cheated on or whatever. But that never happened, and I was just kind of like, okay, I guess
not yet, because every time someone tells me, I think our marriage is over, I just don't love him anymore, I just don't love her anymore, my next question, I've done this before, is what's her name? It's like, whose name? The woman you're banging right now.
Yeah. Well, to add on to Mad's question there, Ted Lasso took the job because it pays better, and he was hoping that the time apart from his wife would allow her to understand the love that they have, and that she and her son would move to England with him.
That's
And
right.
this is not unheard of. There are definitely lots of couples who have to travel outside of their home country for work, and the plan
Mhm.
is for their spouse or significant other to come over there once they've established the roots, so to speak.
I did that.
Oh yeah, okay, great. So that's a great example, right? So, and I think, and that's what was the buildup for her episode, is that you're gonna find out, okay, are they gonna reunite or are they gonna divorce? And of course, she went with the divorce part. Before I even saw this show, people were talking about like Ted Lasso's up an upbeat guy and all this stuff, and they mentioned his family passively to the point where they implied that his wife and child had died somehow tragically, and that's why he's in this positive mind state all the time. And that ended up not being the case at all. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's weird, and you can actually feel the pain in Ted Lasso whenever he has to say goodbye to his kid over like the voice chat, or when he has to leave in the taxi. It's like he doesn't want to not be around him.
Yeah,
Right.
he's clearly very pained by the idea that they have to be separated, and he doesn't want this at all. And I think that that's something that really kind of like really affected me too. But I mean, like in terms of what you were saying earlier, script doctor, like I went through that like with my husband, and it was actually something of a honestly, it was a life altering decision because, like, when my husband wanted to move to Mexico, we weren't on the same page at the very beginning because I had a different career. I didn't want to leave. There was like certain things that I loved Canada. I didn't want to leave Canada. There was just certain things that I had to like. There was certain things that I had to make that decision like for myself. So before I did, though, I was like, you know what? Why don't you go over there, set up everything for us? And if maybe something will happen over there that you won't like and you would want to come back to Canada, we can't like kind of burn all of our bridges and like stop earning money here and things like that, so that if you want to come back, we can't come back. And in my case, it turned out differently because I decided I have to leave Canada in order for a for myself to be happy again, and b to so that my husband can be happy because he clearly wasn't happy in Canada. And then, we just had to make that life decision for us. But at the same time, it was first of all, it was a difficult one. And second of all, there was a period where I thought to myself, if I don't move, that's going to result in me and him separating. And that's not something I was willing to do. Like I was like, I'm not willing to put away my relationship of, however many years at the time. I don't remember for just because I want to focus on my career or whatever that reason was. I was just not willing to do it. So instead, I took a leap and I moved to Mexico, and it turned out to be the best decision I ever made in my life. Having said that, I don't have any kids. So my kids, like if I had kids, maybe I would have made a different decision. I don't know. I can't say
Mhm.
that. But at the same time, I feel like I feel what you're saying, Mad, though, because I understand when kids are involved, it's a little bit different. And especially if you want to kind of like I don't know, make a better life for your kid and everything like that. So I don't know. It's weird though, because I also feel what Script was saying, because originally Ted's idea was that that distance was going to give them the time to think about and maybe come to the realization that I became, where I was like, I don't want to live without my husband. I rather risk it and just go. Whereas then she came to the other realization, like, I'm better off without him. I don't want to be with him. Let's divorce. So like it's that's the trick, right? That's kind of like the risk that you take, because there's definitely good things about being single and bad things about being single. So
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
It's
I
strange.
I hear exactly though what Machismo is saying, and I feel like it was a plot device that maybe didn't quite work like in real life, because there is some truth that when you have a son, a child,
Hmm.
you just don't do that, especially a kid at that age. You find another way, even if mom and dad have to live separate in the same city, because at the end of the day, a boy needs his father, and it just didn't seem right, and it didn't seem in character. It seemed like it was almost a plot contrivance that he wanted that to be. They wanted that part of that to be part of Ted Lasso's character, but if you really think hard for me, I can't imagine that he would move to another city than his son, let alone a whole other country.
I mean, I almost rather have them had killed off the mom and had him move to England with the son as a way to kind of get over the grief. And then because you could have still had all the panic attack stuff, and you could have still had like all the different character development that you had for Ted to get over that loss, quote unquote. But instead of it being a loss of divorce and some weird thing where he's again like he's like leaving his son and everything like that, to him and his son adjusting to this new life in England, trying to recover from losing his mom in a car accident or something like that, like the kid's mom, I mean.
Yeah, and they could have even kept it that they were going through a divorce and maybe even planning on going through the divorce, or maybe even got the divorce and then the mom gets killed in like what they did in
Well,
Criminal
I just
Minds.
think that it's more
Right.
like, I think it's more like manipulation on the wife's part, where he got this job offer because again, being a paid football coach in UK and British pound sterling is way more than just the junior leagues of football in United States. It's uber times more. And I think basically his thing was like, hey, go take this job. I just need some time. I'm going to convince you to go take this job. You Skype your kid every day. And after a few weeks or a few months, we'll pick us up where we are. And I think she just did that deliberately so that she could have him an ocean away and not have to really worry about any repercussions because he'll be attached to that job. And Ted Lasso's the type of guy who doesn't quit, right? And that's and she pretty much, I think she manipulated him into doing that, and he just can't do anything about it. And he's not going to be an evil guy and be resentful. And if you want to bring up, divorced dads not being there for the kids, you're going to have to look at the divorce court, because they're the ones that usually by default grant only weekend visitations to a majority of divorced fathers out there. That has nothing to do with that. Only if the mom is cool will they actually have like a 50-50 shared custody. And that's rare.
Yeah, and it's very sad. It's a tragedy, maybe something to be talked about, maybe in a different context, because it is a tragedy. And I've seen the tragedy because, I've been there when the little boy or little girl comes back from their weekend with daddy and they're bawling and I'm hugging them and they're crying and they're like, I just missed my daddy. I miss my daddy. And it kills you because you're just like, oh my gosh, they don't give a frack what's going on between mom and dad.
Yeah, I remember that because I'm a child of divorce too, so I remember feeling that exact thing, like not wanting to be separated from parents and not understanding what this all meant and everything like that. Which is really, this is why this show is actually a really strong show, because it talks about these themes are really important. And especially like right now in this current era, I feel like, because I feel like divorce is really easy nowadays. Like I feel like people don't work on relationships as much as they used to or something. That's why like long-term relationships, like when I tell people I've been with my partner for 20 years, like people are shocked that, immediately, like, how old are you? Like, and it's just kind of like, we've been together since I was 16. I wasn't willing to give up. I wasn't willing to give up on this relationship. And what you said, Script Doctor, is something that like really stuck with me, because I think that too, because Ted is such an interesting and positive character that like he's just so outwardly positive and weird that if you don't know that about him, and like if you haven't fallen in love with that part, then you're kind of lying to yourself, because that's who he is. It's like, if you're with that person for long enough, it's like, I just don't understand how you would even think like that he would ever be otherwise. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So
yeah, manipulative witch.
yeah, and so I felt like this whole her whole character I thought was a bit of a cop out, and I thought exactly what you said too. Teresa, I was like, where's the dude? Like, who's she banging? Like,
Mhm.
for some reason, I was like, is she banging Rupert? And I was like, there's no way she's banging Rupert because like
Yeah.
she's like across the pond kind of thing. And I was like, who are they gonna throw at us to be like she's banging? And then I thought maybe like, oh no, would it be Beard? Like, is she like
No
cheating on
way.
him with
No.
like Beard? And I was like, no, because Beard had his own fucking weird relationship that
Yeah.
was just
Yeah.
I'll tell you who she's
whack.
banging. She's banging like a heart surgeon. You know,
Someone in
that's who women
Oklahoma,
bang.
yeah.
They find the rich people. They find the rich dude.
Or
She-
one of the football players that Ted Lasso coached in Oklahoma.
Yeah, wait, you're telling me she's banging Doctor Strange? Like, is that what you're saying,
knows?
Teresa?
Well, why
I'm like,
not? Well, no, but you know what I mean. Women don't. I know
Benedict
women because I'm a
Cumberbatch.
woman. If you're gonna bang someone and you bang up, you don't bang down.
I definitely felt like this white woman was just, I don't know,
Yeah.
just terrible terrible character. I was like, I hate this bitch so much.
Yeah, and I'm glad she's gone. But I do hear you. I think Matt, that's what I was talking to there. I think it's a flaw
Mhm.
of the premise, but they keep the rest of the story going enough that you're just like, okay, you know, we just won't-
Definitely. Let's talk about some other really cool stuff too, because I'm also going to get into stuff I didn't like about this show, but still on the topic of what I did like, and that's all of these characters. I really love the atmosphere, the city of Richmond, the spirit of soccer, the spirit of camaraderie, and how much they love and hate Ted Lasso at the same time. Begins with so much more like hate, and then but there's a fine line, right? There's a fine line between love and hate, and you kind of feel both things, kind of understand that comes with sports, and that's one of the things that is really also well done with it with regards to sports, because it's always like that. Somebody switches team, it's like, I hate you now, it's just one of those things, and I really like that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, everything's forgiven once they started scoring goals and started winning matches. I love the way it started off with they were like wanker, and then it was finally wanker, and then he turned it into a chant. I mean, that's just so. That was so great.
Yeah, it changed tones like that. That was really funny.
It's like,
I
good
also
morning,
like the fact
wanker,
that-
like the happy wanker.
I love the fact that they start calling him that when he publicly says, "I don't even understand ties." Like, how does that work? He just doesn't get it.
And I loved when like his kid like came for a visit, and he's like, "Daddy, what's a wanker?" And he's just like, "Oh God, like I don't know."
He's a man who likes to be alone with his thoughts.
Yeah. It was so good. But okay, so something I didn't quite like about the show, and I think this is more like when we started heading towards season 2. I didn't like, God, I forget his name. The character from Nigeria. What was his name again?
Oh, the dude that ended up banging Rebecca?
Yeah. I forget his name.
Gee whiz. It's on the tip of my tongue. Everybody Google.
Let me bring up his picture. Here he is. I just didn't like his character very much. Like I was like, I mean, I thought his character was cool, but then this whole like woke, I don't know, like just like let's focus on this woke thing about how you can help Nigeria by not playing soccer for that team, and then it ends up
the prince or whatever.
Yeah, Sam.
Yeah,
Well, even before that, though, where see, and that's just the big joke, because every single football team is being sponsored by like a lot of Middle Eastern countries that totally abuse everybody, and China and all of that, and yet they decide to pick on this one.
Yeah, and I thought
United Emirates or whatever.
I just thought his character was a little bit of a bitch. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I was just kind of like, okay, like he's just so like, oh God, like get woke, go broke, dude. Like, come on, like calm down. And then it's like the show wanted to say like, when you're an activist, basically it works. Like, like because that's what basically
that
they
never
said.
Works.
And it never works. Like it like basically never works. Almost never works. Like 99% of the time, it doesn't work.
They
Look who's
lose their
got the
$1
World
billion
Cup this
sponsor
year.
of an airline for basically a text-based dating application.
Precisely, yeah.
Yeah.
Money talks in these things. They don't have a soul. They don't have a conscience. And a big oil-rich company, they would never say goodbye to that kind of a money.
Yep, his name is Sam Abisanye. Thank you, Mr. Tickle Trunk. Yeah, like he just, I don't know, he just never, like his struggle with this whole thing was, it didn't really make sense to me. And I was like, they could have made a better kind of struggle with that. And then his whole like love arc with Rebecca just didn't sit well with me either. What did you guys think of that whole love arc with him and Rebecca?
I didn't buy it.
I didn't either. Teresa?
Oh, yeah. I not much more to say. The cougar thing I can get, maybe she'd want to bang a few soccer players, but there was the fact that they were trying to make it more than that.
Yeah, like they
That
were
was
so
tricky.
in love. It's like, oh, I don't know. Yeah, forced. Forced
Yeah.
is a correct word.
Season 2's biggest flaw was that it was way more on the romantic relationships of a lot of the characters and less on the actual fish out of water, trying to figure out the game and get these guys up to snuff for playing. Like that's where people fell in love with the show.
Exactly. And one of the things, and one of the gripes I had with season 2 was the idea of now, like, okay, so it's been a year now that Ted Lasso's been around. It's been because he went through season 1. That was like their first year. They lost their seat. It's a big deal for him to make his comeback. So it's up to Ted, right, as the head coach, to kind of like, make some big moves. And he still didn't even learn the soccer rules. So I'm thinking to myself, like, I would have liked to see that in Ted's character development, for him to maybe for them to show, like, one night him sitting down with Beard and the other guy, like, what's it called, the guy with the assistant dude with the glasses,
Nate the Great.
Nate.
Higgins.
Oh,
and
Higgins.
and even Nate, right? And like actually like cram, as in like he's like cramming to learn the ins and outs, because that's what you would think that a coach of that caliber would do. Like he'd be like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to rely on everybody to tell me what the fuck's going on, when what's offside, what's not, what's this, what that. He needs to learn the rules. Exactly. Ted knows the rules. He just still doesn't get the offside rule. No, I don't think so. I don't think he knows the rules at all. Like,
No,
I think
Coach
he's
Beard,
still really fucking dumb.
He needs to do what Coach Beard did, which is learn the game, because Coach Beard knows the game.
Exactly.
But he doesn't like to talk much, which is awesome about him, because I like the fact that he's stoic and decisive. But Ted Lasso hasn't. He's trying to like learn through osmosis, which is really slow. When when you watch a soccer game, they go on for a bit, and it takes a while to pick up the rules as an audience member, and only an audience member, because there's some weird things going on. But aside from that, yeah, he's not integrated with the actual team in season 2 as much as he was the first time. Like, he's trying to get Kent and Tart to actually work together and be the best they can on the pitch. And in season 2, what's his objective? It's like the team's already in unison, but they're not winning the games like they should. So what's going on? And then they do the whole happy birthday Rebecca thing on the field for her. It's just it's really was losing what drew you to the show. I felt.
And then they started to focus on like his struggle with the panic attacks, which again I felt like was a little bit off character from like season 1, from someone who's such a huge like he's so self-confident. For him to go from like being so self-confident to, oh, I'm having like insane panic attacks, like kind of like the kind of panic attacks have that people of like extreme trauma feel, like people who've witnessed people die in front of them and things like that. And then they introduce a psychologist, which kind of like takes it back to like, oh yeah, like Ted Lasso's dad shot himself, and that's why maybe he's still kind of reliving that. And it's just, I don't know, it just felt again a little forced, and I was like, what does this have to do with soccer? Like, he should be learning about soccer and that kind of thing where
Yeah.
I don't know. I just didn't. I didn't buy this whole thing. I did like her character though. Like I thought she was a good character. I just didn't like that they were just making such a big deal out of his panic attacks instead of like, let's focus on turning you into a fucking amazing coach so you can, actually talk circles around, Nate the Great, because that's what Nate the Great's problem was, right? He was like, this dude doesn't even know the fucking rules and he's getting all the credit for all the shit I'm doing. And it's like,
Yeah.
if he, like, if Ted knew the rules, then that wouldn't even be an argument.
Yeah, I see what you're saying because I felt that was one of the weakest parts of this. While they're in the championship league, you didn't see enough of how they had to claw their way up to the position of getting promoted. So
Yes.
when they finally did get promoted, I felt it didn't have the impact it should have. It should have been triumphant. They should have had more of that. I actually didn't mind some of the stuff with his panic attacks. I thought it was consistent a little bit with last. I felt though that season 2 lacked balance on that. They needed to balance the football. They needed to balance the fact that they needed to get promoted and how hard it is to get promoted after you've been relegated like that, and that could have been a triumphant part of his professional part that could have gotten emphasized that didn't.
Yeah, I mean, some of the jokes that they introduced in the second season, they just didn't really mind. Like when they go to that stadium and Ted's saying like it's the same size field as what you've been playing before, they're like, no, it's actually bigger. It's like, what? How can you not have a regulation field?
Right? Yeah. Those things are interesting. Like they should like that's the kind of stuff that like I mean it's funny, but at the same time when you think about it, you're like, oh, that's really dumb that the guy like doesn't know that. Like you're like, no, that's definitely bigger field. Like, Jay
They totally
here's
ignore training with the helicopter around them. Like it's just
right.
Mhm.
JC says Ted delegates small things like the rules to his staff. He's a player's first coach. And listen, while I understand that, because that was season 1 and it was showing that he's a player's first coach, I feel like because it was long enough that he would have learned the freaking rules in season 2. I like that's the kind of person I am, and I feel like the kind of person Ted Lasso is, like what you said, script doctor. He doesn't like to quit. He doesn't like to be kind of like shown to be dumb. He wants to be a smart guy. He wants to help the British people understand why he's there, right? Like the Trent and Krim and or whatever his name is, and like all the the fans and the people of the town and all the media and everything like that. Why is he there? And the reason he's there is because he's a good coach in general, not just a player coach, but a coach that can design plays and help his team win, not just through pep talks, but through actual coaching. So, and I think that was missing. I did like their relationship though. I thought that the therapist's relationship with him was an interesting relationship, and I like the way that it kind of evolved. I like the episode where she got into an accident and became more vulnerable. I thought that was really cool because at first she kind of like started out really closed off, and I like that they were clashing at first. It was really realistic. And then and like the fact that the same tactic of bringing cookies didn't work with her. Like she was like,
Yeah.
I don't eat sugar. Like, like it's just, and there's certain things like that doesn't work. And it's kind of funny when it doesn't and it back starts.
Though, did you catch this? So she's all, I don't eat sugar and all that. But when he went home with her that one time when she was in her accident, what was all over her apartment?
Alcohol.
This girl's got, yeah, that also I thought was a very interesting dynamic where you were saying, where we rather as the audience were like, this woman has got some demons going on, and it's called she's got the alcohol, because of course, what's the point of giving up sugar if you're drinking alcohol? And she was drinking a lot. Those were lots of bottles.
Yeah.
So
Well, the psychiatrists are there. They get into psychiatry to figure out their own problems. But,
oh no, and I understand. I'm not judging her. I'm not judging her at all. I'm just saying it gave her also another layer to it. The fact that she well, she's helping everyone with their demons, and like you just said, script is that they get into it to help with their own problems, but she obviously has a problem she's not addressing.
Yeah, it was cool. Sorry, go ahead, script.
No, I was just agreeing with her. Like, I did like this character. I like the fact that Ted Lasso doesn't like psychiatrists because he has that subtle, like in the voice in the back of his mind saying the marriage counselor is the reason why he's divorced now, which a lot of men who think they're in a happy relationship believe, and I don't I don't doubt that belief or that.
That's who I
possibility.
thought she was banging. I thought she was banging the therapist.
Well, we haven't met the therapist, so
That's
is it a man
true.
or a woman?
Yeah, we don't know. But like immediately when his mistrust of therapists came and and like all that stuff happened, I was like, maybe she was banging the therapist, because that's what I thought too at first. I was like, like I think she's banging somebody, but we never met the therapist. And then he has such a mistrust of therapists, and I was like, there must be a reason for this. Is it because she was banging him or something? Because that's usually what happens.
Well, but script is right. I've know a lot of dudes that got divorced, and they said when the second that she wanted to go to therapy, he was like, "That's it. We're this," and it usually ends in north. I know it's not the case. Objectively, I know it's not the case, but there is a feeling that therapists lead you to. They're like divorce lawyers.
Well, basically, what a marriage therapist is, and they do some good, but primarily what it is that you're turning your marriage from a negotiation to a democracy, where you're appealing to a third party that you are more correct than the other party, and all you have to do is get them to be on your side so that the other party admits a mistake. And when you remove the fact that it's not two people actually trying to talk and reconcile with something, but win the affections or the affirmation of a third party, you have no longer have a marriage anymore, because it's not about the opposite person you're with. It's about getting points from the other person. This is why the it's not quite bigamy, but it's close. They're called like triads or truples or thruples. It's where
Never heard of that.
It's three people in a committed sexual relationship. It's doomed to fail.
Right.
Because again, if two people want one thing and another person doesn't want that one thing, that person is voted out. And then now you're like buying and exchanging votes for clout or whatever type of superficial currency you have within that relationship in order to get what you want. And it's no longer a negotiation of a partnership. It's basically Congress. It's literally like a political Congress where, three people have to work together. Agree.
Yeah.
But really it's just majority rule as opposed to just two people coming to terms and making concessions and reconciling and compromising.
Right. Yeah. There was another relationship in this that was really funny. And that was the whole Keely and angry dude. Roy Kent starting their relationship, and just like them going deeper into their relationship. And I thought this scene was really freaking funny.
She has to watch him cry to get turned on.
Yeah. When she was like masturbating to him, like crying about his retirement. And he's like, he's like, tell me what you're like, looking at. And this scene happened right after, Roy Kent, or not Roy Kent, the other guy, Jamie Tart, yeah, told her that he was like so in love with her and stuff. And I was like, and the way that like the camera angle was shot, it was like, oh, like what is she watching on her phone? And for a second there, I was like, oh no, is she like masturbating to him, like scoring that goal or something like that? Yeah. And then Roy comes in and she's all like, oh no, like, you caught me masturbating. And then he's like trying to see what's on her phone. I was gonna be like, oh no, like it's gonna be a fucking picture of Jamie. And it's it's like a video of him fucking falling his eyes.
Yeah.
It was so weird.
And the fact that he's bothered by it is even better, because it's like, you should be bothered by that. Why does me crying turn you on? That's some twisted dark stuff right there.
It was disturbing.
Emotion, and women get turned on by emotion.
I know,
vulnerability they get turned on, but not by like. but he's taking it as like it's like weak and cowardice and stuff. But she's like, no, it's strength to admit those feelings. It's like it doesn't feel right, and he's swearing all.
Yeah.
all-
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll take that.
But I think it's funny that in the end he realized what she meant and then was like, yeah, okay, here, you can watch this while I go down on you. And I was like, damn. Like he got into it and I was like, that's kind of like really healthy in a relationship though, to like, understand what your partner is, into and then just be like, oh, you can have it. Like that's fine. At the end of the day, it was a video of him crying and not like Jamie Tart or somebody else. Because how would that make you feel, right? Like,
Oh yeah. Well, that would be bad. That would have been very bad.
yeah. So I thought that was funny. There was definitely certain things that were really, really funny about some of the episodes. I think one of my favorite episodes in season 2, though, like having said that season 2, I thought was definitely not as strong as season 1. But one of the episodes that really was just a wonderful episode was it episode 7? No, it was the episode where it's all about the beard, and it was after the loss. It's called Beard After Hours, and it was
where he's wandering around town. At
yes, it was episode 9, I think. Yes,
Yeah,
episode 9.
That was one of their afterthoughts because they got 2 more episodes, and so they filled it in with the Christmas one and this one.
Oh, really? Because
Yeah.
I thought this episode was really well done. I didn't like the Christmas one as much, but I thought that this one was just really good.
The only part of the Christmas episode I really liked was taking Roy Kent taking his niece to all the rich people in his house looking for a dentist to find out that she has halitosis.
That was funny. That was funny. I also like the other part of it too. You're right about the assistant showing how much he cared and like about the players and like having that party in his house and everything like that. Because those are like all character development, and I like those kind of things. So I didn't mind that episode either. I think that what bothered me about the Christmas one was that weird love story with the Obisanye and that chick. Like I was just like,
And Rebecca, it just doesn't jive.
It just didn't fit the rest of the episode, but otherwise it was really good. And then there was this episode. So like after they have their big loss, I like the way that they set it up because in the previous episode, he kind of just walks away from Ted and he's like, fuck you, like I'm going. And he just like, get this stench of this loss off of me and I'm going to go party or like whatever, like drink my problems away. Meanwhile, Ted is like, he doesn't really understand this line of thought, which is because I guess and that's the part that kind of bothered me too, is like, it was almost as if Ted didn't care enough. And even the beard took it more seriously than Ted did. And that's why I'm talking about how like he hasn't even learned the rules. It's like, when is he going to start taking the shit seriously? So like, so that we get into this episode, and so he meets up with the 3 kind of the mega fans, mega fans of this.
The super fans.
Yeah,
do you guys
and
remember
they're
the
true
super
super
sketch
fans.
from Saturday Night Live about the Bears and the Bulls?
No.
Oh, you got to see those sketches. They're like one of the best things that Saturday Night Live did in the 90s.
Okay, I must have seen it, but probably forgot them. Because it's been a long time since I've seen Saturday Night Live, but I've probably seen them. But send them to me later, and I'll watch them.
Sure.
And then they just start having this adventure, which is like just so random. Like it was just this really, really random episode where they get into this like weird bar in the middle of downtown, and then they trick these guys that are like super rich into the beard does anyways. He tells them that these rich guys, like, that those guys are like basically like retarded and they're like that they need help and like all this stuff like that. That's why they're not
like
smart.
super intelligent but come across as stupid because he was a former professor at Oxford and he knows all this backstory because his ex-girlfriend gave him all this information.
Yeah. And like that's how he knew, was that his current ex-girlfriend, because they keep getting back together like over and over again.
Yeah,
like
she's crazy.
In the same episode, they break up like 5 times. Like they're like, oh, okay. Like
there's some sort of
together.
rave underneath a church.
Yes, there was and then he starts tripping out, like seeing Thierry Henry like on TV, like mouthing him off, and I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
The fact that they even had Thierry Henry in this was like pretty freaking funny, because he's one of the main uh what's it called? The main announcers that
Broadcasters,
announces,
yeah.
the
Yeah.
broadcasters. Thierry Henry used to be one of my favorite players back in the day, so it's kind of interesting to see him in this. This is like one of the scenes from the party, which is it just such a trip. Like I was like, what is this episode? It's like it kind of just takes you through this like giant trippy um episode that like really doesn't really quite make sense, but at the same time it makes a lot of sense because it connects things quite well near the end. And so he just has this like crazy trip. He rips his pants, gets into like he sees this woman there at the bar who's like really pretty, and he was gonna hit on her because he's like on a break from his girlfriend. The woman turns out to be kind of like setting him up because she's like a thrill seeker that takes people's pants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then has her like buff boyfriend. She does it because she wants to like fuck around with her buff boyfriend because I guess that's like her kink to get him to think that she's cheating on him, and then like run after these dudes, and then like have them be what's the word? Have like he's kind of like that misunderstood dude,
Yeah,
like because he's like
he's
so
just so
buff,
in love. He's so in love with with a woman that he just can't stand any sense of betrayal. Um,
right?
and then I mean I like how it turns out at the end because this guy he goes through like Beard goes through one hell of a night where he ends up even getting like in a fight with Jamie Tartt's dad and his two bum friends.
Yeah.
And then this guy comes in and beats the crap out of them. He's like, "Oh, you dropped your phone. I'm so sorry. I misunderstanding. You don't understand. Let me help you with the scooter." And he just like zips away.
Yeah, and that part was interesting because the last episode you saw was how he helped kick out Jamie Tartt's dad after the big loss when Jamie Tartt's dad came into the fitting room,
Yep.
the locker room, and was like basically saying like you're useless to his
Oh,
son and like all this stuff, and that was a really like sad moment for people of the show, like the people that like the show, but also like to see Jamie Tart like that. I mean, that scene where Roy goes up to him and hugs him, like I almost had like tears in my eyes because I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
that's so sweet when dudes like the bromance, and you know that like how much those guys have like been fighting throughout this whole thing, and then like just to see that was kind of wonderful. I'm trying to find that scene where he's like getting beat up by his dad. Oh, there it is. There it is. That
Yeah,
was
well,
really
I saw it coming
cool.
a million miles away that he was going to end up punching him because the dad was just being such a dick.
I mean, I
And
saw that too, but it was like I didn't think that Roy was gonna go hug him though. I thought
oh
like
yeah,
maybe Ted was gonna go hug him. But Roy doing it was kind of like it was a little different because of their competition, right? Like because of that love triangle that they have towards each other.
yeah.
And then there's the scene where his Jamie's dad is like beating up the Beard, or trying to anyway. And then he gets rescued by the Chad that was
Yeah. Yeah, that was wild. Yeah. I actually thought that
there he
whole
is.
episode was a dream. I didn't think it was actually real because it was too trippy, in my humble opinion. And
And
then
he
when this Beard After Hours thing, yeah.
yeah, he's like, "Oh, you drop your you drop your wallet at my house trying to escape. But you can keep those pants because she's keeping yours." Um,
Yeah.
that was all funny. You thought this was a dream episode?
Yeah, because it was just too far out and too trippy and all the big, the blue moon because the Man City thing and then just the way that one person was being really weird, like what's your name? What's your name? Like at the hotel. Just a lot of it just came across to me as like, okay, this is just like a wild, wild dream. And then when I found out it wasn't a dream, I was like, oh, screw it. I got to go and reevaluate what I just saw. I
Yeah,
love this part though, because for three big fans like that of their football club to get to go and hit, kick around on the pitch to We Are the Champions, that was great.
The pants collector was hot.
Oh yeah.
Hold on, let me get a screen of her because she was really pretty.
Everyone
I was
loves,
like,
yeah.
dude. And she was like, I think she was a redhead too, which is really rare nowadays
Yeah.
to see. But she was spicy. She's a spicy lady.
Yeah. And when he's sitting there doing the hula hoop for that long, I'm like, okay, he's had some angel dust or something.
Oh my god. Yeah, and that was the funny part about that is that his night was so shitty. Like the Beard's night was so shitty, but then the kids' night, the fans' night was the best night of their entire lives. And then he even gifts them that thing near the end, even though he's had such a shitty night. That's
Yeah.
why he's such a good guy, because he's like, you know what? Like I'm gonna make this night the best night of your life, even though it's probably one of the worst of mine. Here, go to this guy, meet this guy, and then he'll take you to wherever. And they were like, they didn't even know where they were going, and then all of a sudden they see that they're on the main field, and it was like their reaction was so organic and so nice, and I really like that. There's the pants collector.
Yeah.
She was really hot. I agree. What was your thoughts on this episode, Script Doctor?
It was very different, and I kind of enjoyed it because you felt the frustration with Beard when everything starts going bad. Like as soon as he tears his pants in that private room, his night is done. It's not gonna get any better. And I also liked at the ending part where he gets his keys broken off in the lock.
Oh my god! And then it starts raining, and then
and this is all happening before midnight because bars in the UK close a few hours earlier than most places in North America. So it's not even like in the early AMs at all. It's still a reasonably normal time to folks like
and then
us.
It's raining, and then he like goes into this church, and he's like, what the hell's going on? And he's just like kind of like praying at this point, because he was just he'd been locked out of his house. It's just, like everything that could go wrong went wrong that night. I'm trying to think what it was that this episode reminded me of, because there was an episode like this and something else. But then like when he goes into the church, he like finds out there's a rave like in the church.
Yeah, you see, that's again where I thought it was a trip. I mean, that was just like, what?
But things like that do happen all the time. That's the funny part. And then so he's like, you know what, might as well join him. Like, and he just starts raving, which I thought was hilarious. He's just like, whatever. I really like that episode because I thought it was so different, and it was really different with what was going on. Though I did think it was really weird that his girlfriend was there. I was like, what? That's the only thing. That's the only part that I didn't really get.
Well, she was texting him that this is where she was going and wanted him to be there. And
oh, really? Is that what happened? I didn't pay attention.
There's photos of her at the place with the neon cross in the background, and then he loses his phone, and then he has like 50 missed calls and texts and all that other stuff, and he has to explain, this is what happened to me that night, and she doesn't buy it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why she was there, because that like at that part I was like, wait, is this a dream? Because I thought like
you see, that's where I thought it was a dream. Yeah, because it was just too weird. Yeah,
it was too weird when she showed up, because I was like, wait, why is she here? But it was like whatever, because that kind of stuff has happened to me before, so I could believe it. It was believable. But yeah, so that was a cool episode. I really liked that in the second season. I liked Ted's relationship with the therapist in the second season. I just didn't really like that woke line of
woke activism, and there's too much focus on the romances that didn't need to be part of the story.
Yeah, that's it. I even liked what they did with Nate the Great. I thought it was cool that they made him into an enemy for next season. He's going to be teaming up with Rupert now, which makes sense. It was kind of like heading that way, because like the more he kept questioning Ted, and the more he kept like saying certain things like, oh, he's just going to get all the credit and like all the stuff like that. Like it made me think like, okay, he's going to betray them somehow. When is that coming?
Yeah.
But I like the way even when Beard told him off, it's like what
called
you did
him
wasn't
out.
Cool. Yeah. That he was being a douche.
Yep. I liked Jamie Tartt's redemption, because he came back and he was able to score the main goal, but also he didn't just score. He gave Danny Rojas the ball to score the penalty kick, showing that he's now a team player as well. And then Danny Rojas was able to finally score a penalty since he killed the dog. Let's talk about the dog killing.
Oh,
I thought that was really was a funny episode. It was very awkward. So what did you guys think of that dog killing episode?
Oh,
I was just reminded of that baseball game where the pitcher obliterated a seagull that flew past the batter.
Oh my god!
I'm wondering, did that happen to the dog? Was he just obliterated and left?
Well, he was definitely dead on impact. I thought it was clever, and I was actually kind of surprised that they went there with the way everyone's so afraid to do that kind of comedy, like animal getting killed comedy.
I know. They didn't show anything.
No, but still, you know what I mean? I could just see
I do
writing angry letters.
I do know what you mean. And I thought it was really funny. And the way they handled it was really funny. Like this scene, I was like hysterically laughing because I was like, that would be me. Like if I killed a dog.
Yeah. And they're praying and
he's there with his like soccer clothes on and he's just like going like this, like doing the Hail Mary like over and over again and just like whispering to himself, like trying to like, ask for forgiveness because he killed a fucking dog.
Yeah.
See, I saw this. I was laughing at this part, and then I was laughing at that first moment, I think in episode 1 or 2, where they say, can you fix the water pressure in the showers? And then Roy Kent goes in there and he's fine.
Yeah.
And another guy goes in there and the shower just knocks him down.
Yeah, it's like an elephant shower. And he's like, he fixed the water pressure. Like, that was pretty good. Yeah, that was a funny thing. Here's the little niece. Hold on, I just saw her. And I like how the I like the coach, like the soccer coach that the little girl has, like the other one. How she's like always like, dude, like, why don't you calm down? Like, they're little girls. And he's like, you gotta fucking go and score or like whatever. Like he's just like
you
so
get a trophy
intense.
means nothing. You get a trophy means nothing.
And he's so fucking intense, and I love it. I love how intense he is about the soccer game.
I'll see you girls next season.
Yes, yes, it is balling. Well, and then he worked for Sky Sports, and those were
that was funny.
All of those coaches were like real people, they do real commentary now, and a few legends were on there, and the way it turned into a rom-com when he decided he was going to quit, I loved that.
I like how he's encouraging the violence out of that girl with the ice pack on her head.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to see
like
more
something
heads
about
from
brain
you.
development.
Yeah. It was so great. And then the little girl starts swearing because she takes after the uncle.
Well, I mean, his brother-in-law is nowhere to be found. Like the niece's father ditched.
Right. Yeah, we don't know about any of that. Wait, who's her mom too? I don't know about her sister either.
I don't think we met the mom yet, but we met the niece's teacher.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought that they were going to start. Roy Kent and her were starting to get a little connected there.
I thought so too, but I found that part of the series really interesting because, even though they're trying to kind of like focus on relationships, I thought it was really interesting that she told him about how, the other guy, Tart, came to her and told her that, he's in love with her and that, that Indian dude kissed her, which, by the way, what the fuck? Like, I was pissed about that. I'm like, see, okay, that's a Me Too right there. Like,
yeah,
you don't do that. Like, no, that's fucking uncool. I don't care who you are. Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
And then and then she told him, she was honest with him, and then he told her, he was like, I spent a lot of time with this woman, like nothing happened, but we were like just hanging up art and stuff like that for like 3 hours. I just don't want you to get the wrong idea, but I want you to know. And I thought that that's really healthy. Like, that's the sign of a healthy relationship when you communicate that kind of stuff and talk about that kind of stuff. I was surprised that he didn't punch Nate the Great. Were you guys surprised that he didn't punch Nate the Great?
No, because it was part of his character arc. I mean, just a few I don't know if it's the same episode. If you went, like, he's this kind of encouraging guy. Like you mentioned, he was hanging the kids' drawings on the for the show and tell or whatever it was. But the other part, which was funny, is that his niece is drawing breasts, and he
Oh
just
my God,
takes them
yeah.
all, and then he leaves money to buy them for as they would be auctioned normally off. So, and he just takes them.
He
And
takes all the boob pics, and the boob pics were great.
Mhm.
yeah, they're made by an artist, and it's probably based off of, I guess, Keely's what she's seeing at Keely.
I think so, and that's really funny. And then there's this part about his character development. He does he does his yoga class with these old
With
ladies.
the wine moms.
Yeah, the wine
Yeah, so
moms. And then he hangs out with them and watches what was it
lust
that they were watching?
conquers all.
Yeah.
Some sort of like Sex Island thing, and they don't know that he's a professional ball player, which is even better.
Yeah, and that's the one
Yeah.
that Jamie Tart was on, and then he's like, oh, like that guy, fucking hates
And he got
him.
voted off, and he couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
And then
there he
they
is.
were
I got
surprised.
out of that. Here he is.
They were surprised when Man City didn't want him back.
There he is.
He's got the shave fake scar in the eyebrow. That's so stupid.
Oh my God. Yeah, I never get that thing. I'm like, I don't know why people do that.
They're
Beard
too
is the
afraid to get a
ultimate
real
win-win.
scar. That's why.
That's also true. But yeah, so what else is there to talk about? I
loved
the
it when
beard.
Roy Kent kind of became the sports commentator, and he just started going, "Oh, how was Chelsea? They played like shit. That's what
Yeah,
Chelsea
they
did."
sucked. That's what it's
Yeah.
just it was so
They were
great.
like, "You can't." Like, we're sorry for his fruity language. And
Yeah, they're all
You can get away with a
continuously
lot on normal British television, actually.
yeah, but not not usually that
Yeah,
way.
that
And
was-
not there. And then finally, well, all of those guys they're real commentators, and I liked seeing that as well. It kind of was fun seeing them have fun with it too. And then, of course, when he finally decides he wants to take the coaching team, and there was all the tropes from a rom-com.
Mhm.
I'm
I'm
he
finding
goes to
scenes of that.
quit, and then they all nod at him, and he runs, and then the cab guy can't get him too far enough, so he has to get like a bicycle. Yeah, there they are.
Wait, I
Those-
think two of those are professional commentators and former ball players, and I think the guy in the white-haired guy was an character actor who was the original coach of the team for season 1 that was fired, right?
Yes. I think so.
Oh.
Isn't he also a real coach? And this guy's a real anchor, isn't he?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought he
These are
was.
well, and the dude in the gosh, where is he? The guy in the second to the right. He has a thing
Oh.
that went viral because there was someone sent off with a red card, and they go, "We're gonna go ahead and go to him," and he didn't see it, and they're like, "What was the red card all about?" And he goes, "Was there a red card?" So he went viral and became really famous for missing that. Usually most people would get fired, but because this guy is so
Oh.
brilliant and it was so funny. Yeah, so he's a legend. He's an absolute legend. So
That's
when I
hilarious.
saw him in there, I'm like, oh my, yeah. If you've never seen that, it's pretty funny.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Is there a way you can pull it up? That's funny.
Oh sure.
We can watch that. Meanwhile, there's also hold on. There was also this bit here that was good. Keely evolves, her character evolves as well because she becomes a kind of like a businesswoman because she becomes a PR person of her own. I like that. There was a period of time where I thought it was really interesting because she was having problems with Roy being everywhere all the time because they were like working together. So I thought to myself like, oh, they might break up because when you're around someone like too long, when you're starting to kind of like date, that might be one of those things that kind of drives you away from them, but they didn't, and I thought that was cool that they kind of like subverted my expectations with that. They like overcame that bump. They every time I see that Abasania guy, I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah.
And he was a little bitch too. Did you guys notice that he was the one that complained about Roy coming back, and he was all like, he like threw a fit and like went off the field, and he was like, I don't want him to be like to want him to come back and blah blah blah. Like he was the one that made a big deal out of it too.
Yeah, he was here I got it. It's Chris Camara and he's notorious for the fudge. It's not letting I put it in our chat in the other one. Let me see if I
In the Twitter one? I'll grab it.
Yeah. You might have to get it from there cuz they're not letting me do it on my computer.
Okay,
Yeah.
no problem.
Yeah, but he was being a little though to be fair, I think that since he's the captain. No, wait, he wasn't the captain of the team. It was the other dude who's the captain of the team.
Oh my god, this is all like the same dudes.
Well,
Wait,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They're real. Yeah.
Can we
that's
watch
why I love
this?
these guys. And yeah, they're legends.
It's public, so yes, technically you can.
Hit on this one. Hold on. I'll show it to you guys at least because these are all like real people. I didn't realize that. I didn't know.
Yes.
All...
So like that was just what made it so much fun. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Chris Camara because he's made more than one gaff, but this is his best one.
Okay, here. I just kind of fast forwarded it. Let me see. Do you think we're gonna get hit on this one? I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know, Jeff, has it? I must have missed that. Red card.
Chris.
Have you not been watching? I haven't.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he missed a red card.
That's the guy that missed the red card. Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh,
And they all
good
lie
lord.
and laughing. And like I said, because he is who he is, I think that's what kept him from being fired. Because if you were like a guy and you kept missing a red card, I mean, it was
His reaction was hilarious.
his face. Yeah. So
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
yeah, so I
Okay.
thought it was great that they got those guys because it was fun. And you can tell they were having fun.
It is fun. And speaking of fun, a lot of people are having fun with this show online. And this is something else that you sent earlier, Teresa, which was a post by somebody who decided to cosplay their dog as Trent Krim from The Independent.
Yeah.
Um,
And then the guy's playing Ted. Yeah. And look, he even has a notebook. The dog
it
has
says
a notebook.
believe. Yeah. I thought even this one says believe on it. And
Oh yeah,
there's a
believe
little,
that too.
the notebook. Oh, this is great. This is so cute. I love this. I love it when TV shows are fun and that they bring out that fun in everybody. And this is just so much fun. And I think this show has rewatchability value. I think that you can go and watch it kind of like it's one of those shows where you could watch it over and over again. Hopefully, like the third season will be really good too. I think that it's on the way. I don't think that if they keep to this note, I don't think it'll be too bad. I don't know. What are your predictions for season 3? Script Doctor, what's your predictions?
I'm hoping for season 3 they actually win the championship.
Yes, I am too.
And basically do the one thing that Ted Lasso convinced Rebecca to do, which is basically run the team better than her husband ever could, as opposed to destroying it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Stop being like Kathleen Kennedy and actually run the damn club.
Prove you're better. Yeah.
Yes. And speaking of which, Ted Lasso season 3 could be released before the end of 2022, says Crystal Fernandez, who plays the Danny Rojas, the dog
Soccer
killer.
is life.
Football is life.
Yeah.
But
No,
football is
Football is dead.
but most of all, football is live. Oh, that's so good. So yeah, we'll be back probably later this year. And that's gonna be fun. Teresa, what are some of your predictions for season 3?
Well, I think that they should win the whole effing thing the way Ted said. And it's okay if they do it. It's okay if it's predictable because the whole show has been predictable. And to be honest, when it's not been predictable, that's usually when it sucks. Like the stuff with Sam and Rebecca, for example. But I think that they're definitely gonna win. What I'm hoping they're gonna do is what they didn't do in season 2 is focus a little bit more on the football aspect of the actual game, like how they climb their way up. I think they'll have to, since they're going to be with West Ham being with Rupert. I'm hoping we just see more of that because they've got to balance it out. And as I'm thinking, in season 2, there weren't any really new expressions. Like season 1 had believe, it had be a goldfish, it had all these things that I have on t-shirts and keychains and posters on my wall. But season 2 didn't have that. So there was something about the heart missing. I predict hopefully that they'll be able to overcome that. But I think that Keeley and Roy Kent, I think they may actually break up.
I think so too. I think it's leading up to that, but I mean, we'll see. They did get over themselves in terms of like certain things in this season. It's either going to be, it's usually either a marriage proposal, like he's gonna propose marriage and then they're gonna have like a wedding thing, or they're gonna break up. I don't know which one is coming for them, but I could see it being either or. I think that it's like, I agree with you guys. I think that they should definitely focus more on the soccer aspect. I was hoping that they would do a little bit more of that, like in season 1 and 2. Like I said, I wanted him to like kind of learn the ropes and then teach the American audience the ropes, because a lot of people are like him. A lot of people in America are actually like Ted Lasso. And that's why one of the reasons that, I like this show was because it was really realistic about how Americans see a football, which most of us call football, like, how Americans view soccer and how they don't really understand some of the rules and stuff like that. That's why it's not that big of a popular sport in the United States. So I think that it would have been really cool if they kind of went through that kind of stuff with the audience and showed the audience what the rules are, how you learn those rules, that kind of stuff. It could open the show up to an even broader audience of like new soccer fans that want to understand what soccer is like, that kind of thing. So I think that they could do more of that. Like you said, Teresa, focus more on the soccer, focus more on that kind of stuff, like the sporting, the sport part of the show versus the sitcom-y, like love story part of the show.
Yeah, because it got old. And another thing that did well in season 1, speaking to what you just said, everyone always bitches and complains, oh, they have ties in soccer. And then you saw by the end of the season why a tie was so daggone important. And you remember they were jumping around. Right. We had a tie. So that's another example. They need to go back to that.
But they never clarified why it was so important. Then that's one of the things that
with the points. Because remember they're saying, okay, Crystal Palace gets this, if this and all the points will add up and then we won't be relegated.
Yeah, but they needed to do more of that, like to kind of like hammer that home of like, okay, soccer is different. It runs by a different set of rules. Everything, like the points count in a different way, and blah blah blah. They need to do more of that kind of stuff for the audience that's not familiar with soccer. Though I guess like the argument could be made is that most people, I guess, that are not fans of soccer aren't watching the show, because I think it's geared towards soccer fans, so a lot of people would understand. I'm a basic soccer fan. Like I'm not like the biggest soccer fan in the world, but I enjoy it. I think it's fun. It's a fun sport to watch. So I get the rules, but I'm like, sometimes I'm confused too. I'm like, wait, what was that again? Like, oh yeah, he was offside. Hockey was like weird for me to learn when I was like learning the hockey rules. Script Doctor, that was a weird. Like, I was like, wait, they can go around the net.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that was like always weird for me. I was like, there's no outline, like there's because in the NBA or in soccer,
you can be offside or on hockey. It's if your skates go over the blue line before the puck does.
Yeah, but I mean like out of bounds. Like there's no out of bounds. Like it's like all the entire.
That's called going over the wall into the bleachers.
Yeah, like into the bleachers. Or
that's temporary.
Like that. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Mr. Tickleson Trunk says, "I'm not a soccer fan at all, and I love the show." Well, there you go. That's really interesting to me because I thought that maybe one of the most of the draw is to like for you to know the game, and that's why you would be drawn to it. But I could see why people would like it even if they don't like soccer. Because I like the show for what it is. I think it's a really positive show. I think it's a fun show. It's definitely something that you could just kick back and watch. It's really cool. But that's one of the things I didn't like season 2 about. I was like, can we just take the woke stuff out of it, please? Other than that, it's fine. But yeah, so hopefully we'll go back to more of the sports stuff. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about? Because I think we pretty much covered it all. Script Doctor, do you have anything else? Any final
No,
thoughts?
I
on
think
this?
we did a great job covering the first 2 seasons. And if anyone in the chat hasn't seen it yet, hopefully this gives you more insight whether or not to take a plunge into Ted Lasso.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and let us know what you think of it in the comments when you watch it. Soccer is simple, says Kitty Bear. The ball, don't what? Kick the ball. Don't use your hands. Don't touch the players. Keep the ball inside the lines and kick the ball in the goal. That's pretty
Oh,
much
they're
it.
forgetting
Well-
exaggerate your injuries.
Oh gosh, no,
That's right.
During the World Cup, especially. But well, I mean, there's more strategy. You know, there's
They
different-
could use more of that. That's definitely something that they could use more of. Is like how, the injury thing, or like I liked how they did it once with Roy when he's like, no, you want to like, when you get up, just pretend you're really injured, and then like
Yeah.
they'll really love it. You could sell that. They need to do more stuff like that.
Yeah, that was fun. But in defense of soccer, aka football, there's different positions, there's different strategies, there's different formations that they use out there. I mean, it looks like they're just out there kicking the ball, but there is more to soccer than just kicking the ball.
Oh, I like how Teresa's simping for soccer. That's really cute. Also, Kai did sent me this. We'll get to your final thoughts in a second, Teresa. Kai sent
what
me
again here
this,
is John.
saying that this is the best Indian commentator ever. I hope I don't get hit on this, Kai. If I do, it's your fault.
Johnson kicks toward the goal, and oh my God, Singh makes a fantastic save. But I believe he hit his nuts on the goalpost. He is down. Let us have a closer look at instant replay. Not only just self-sacrifice on this play, but sacrificing positions as well. Obviously going all out for his team, saving the ball right here, but also losing 2 on the play, putting balls on the line. Let us have a moment of silence for this man's fallen brothers. As you see right here, he got to the ball and so did.
Oh my God.
That hurts.
Was that real? That can't have been real. That's probably like voiced like afterwards.
Could be. I don't know, but it's either way, that's some good wit there. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
that was
Oh
that
my
was funny.
gosh.
I like the Mexican guy that can do the goal thing, like the goal. And he just goes on.
Hey, I'll tell you what, I have been at soccer matches with my kindergartners, and when they score a goal, we do that. It's great. It's fun.
Oh my God. Melissa Lord for 5 says, you're making soccer interesting. Oh my God. Soccer is interesting. It's really fun. But also this show is really interesting. I think this show is just really, really fun. I definitely recommend it to everybody. I think it's fun. It's what we need more of. Like it doesn't take itself too seriously. It did try to take itself seriously, and that's when it started failing a little bit. But also, Melissa, thank you so much for your member chat. Also, that says, "Great stream. It's great to catch one live with my work schedule. Are you going to watch Kenobi? Love ya." The answer to that, Melissa, is unfortunately no, because I don't like Disney Star Wars. So I will not be watching Kenobi. I might, out of curiosity, possibly check out the first episode. I don't know. I still haven't really even decided. But I don't know. Probably most likely not. I'll just probably watch like other people's reviews of it, just like I did with The Mandalorian and everything else that Disney Star Wars has put out since The Last Jedi. I still haven't even seen The Rise of Skywalker, so probably not.
It's
yeah, no, you're nicer than I'm oh hell no. More power to anyone that enjoys it. That I've seen enough torture in my life, and I'm just not in the mood to see anymore.
Yeah, I mean, my husband was trying to like convince me to watch it and then review it on here so that I can grift on the hate. But I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just not that kind of person. I mean, here I am like reviewing Ted Lasso. Not a lot of people, are into that kind of thing to like review TV shows that basically no one talks about. I am. I like bringing more people to good shows rather than let's just focus on what's shit out there. I don't know.
Yep.
It can get depressing after a while. It brings your spirits down.
I just feel like my time could go to other better things than to make myself hurt because they're destroying characters that I love. I love Star Wars, okay?
Mhm.
I love Star Wars. Melissa, did you see this? Isn't this cool? I bought this at a Mexican fair. And it does the Star Wars thing. Wait, what did I do? Hold on.
Here we go. Yay.
Oh, I love it.
I love that. Man, I want one.
It's so cute. But yeah, so yes, I'm all about the balance. I'm all about the balance. And there's gonna be a lot of people talking about Kenobi and how shit it is. So
Mm.
you can come here to my channel and talk about random shows that we all actually enjoy. So I think like one of the things that I'm gonna talk about at some point is going to be the new sci-fi series that's like on what is it? Is it on Prime? That weird one everyone's been kind of talking about. God, what
Oh,
was it
gee,
called?
gotta narrow that
the
down.
Western one? The cowboy Western one?
Yeah. The cowboy Western one. I'm just
Is it like
scrolling up in our
Outland or
chat
something
to
like
remember
that,
what it's
or-
called. Yes, Outer
Open
something.
Range or something.
Open
like that.
Range. That's right.
There we-
That's
oh,
the
yeah.
one. I'm thinking. I'm definitely wanting to watch that. That's definitely something that's really on my radar. There's another. Oh, I'm thinking about starting Yellowstone because I've heard really, really good things about it.
Yep.
Mhm.
Have you guys watched that Yellowstone?
I read the pilot by Taylor Sheridan a while back. I thought it was really good, but I just have not gotten around to checking out this series yet. I think it's like in season 4 right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I heard.
I've
I
heard good
heard
things
that
about it.
too. I heard really good things about it, and it's Kevin Costner, and I like Kevin Costner, and I like westerns. So I think that's it just seems right up my alley. So that might be something we can consider doing on this channel at some point is reviewing that, reviewing Outer Range, as Mr. Tickle Trunk says. I hope you're doing well, Demajani. Good to see you.
Yeah.
See, Melissa says Yellowstone is great. I've heard really good things about it.
Yeah.
And also I'm thinking about like I mean I want to involve the audience a little bit. How especially people who watch this show regularly, like if you guys know what you like, comment down below, especially after the streams are done. Let us know what you want us to review, and if we get multiple requests for certain series, then maybe we'll do those. It all depends on time and how many episodes there are in the seasons and things like that. We all have to kind of coordinate, but we would love to kind of give you guys what you want to watch, right? So let us know, especially in the comments. And then Teresa, tell me your final thoughts, and also like what were your predictions for season 3? Did I already ask you that? I don't know if I-
Yes, and I also threw in a few of what my hopes would be for it.
Yes, you
Yeah.
already said. You already said that.
But in
Okay.
general, my final thoughts about it, I think this is a marvelous series that any flaws it has are greatly outnumbered by what is positive. It's fun. I've watched it with people that like soccer. I've watched it with people that don't like soccer. It's inspiring to me. I think I've told you all that I use these sayings all the time, or if I have a family member that's kind of down, I'll send them a quote from Ted Lasso. Some of these they're just really good for you, and I think that you'll feel better for watching this show.
I agree with all of that wholeheartedly. It's very like just uplifting show. I mean, some of the speeches Ted Lasso gives, I'm just like, yes, I feel so like inspired now. So like that's and also that goes to great writing, Script Doctor. Great writing in this series. I think that's definitely a plus.
That usually
when it comes to
helps.
writing. Yeah.
Imagine that.
Imagine that.
You'll see
Good
very
writers.
writing.
All right. Well, I think that's it. That's we've talked enough about Ted Lasso. Thank you everybody for being here. Script Doctor, tell everyone where they can find you before we close out the show.
You can find me on Twitter at ScriptDoctorPhD. You can see some of my video essays, reviews, breakdowns of film and television at youtube.com/ScriptDoctor. And here Sundays with you, lovely ladies, talking good shows and talking weird shows.
Yeah, weird shows. That's definitely one thing. Nate's locker room speech was amazing when they take the trip where Ted gets laid. Yeah, that was good. That was a good speech. Um, yeah, you used to run like you were angry at the grass. Yeah, I really
Oh yeah.
like that speech. That was good. That was good speech. That was when I liked Nate, and then I started to really dislike him. I fucking hate that guy now. Ms. Martin Muses, thank you so much for joining us. Tell everyone where they can find you.
Well, you can find me here, Miss Martin Muses, where I talk about a whole bunch of crazy crap and stuff, but I love it. I love every minute of it. I'm going to be talking about the Indiana Jones trilogy this Thursday, it's looking like in the afternoon, as well as spreading the love and the joy of Tolkien's books, the ones, that he wrote. And we are currently right in the smack dab middle of the Silmarillion on Saturdays at 11 a.m. Central.
Nice. And okay, here is the one of the last things we'll say. I'm just gonna read what Danny Rojas said. I mean the actor, the character, not or the guy, not the character. He said, "We're very excited to be back on set, and thankfully these times are different than last year as a COVID-wise. Last year we were shooting in the middle of lockdown, but at least now the city has reopened. I'm just really amazed of how talented the writers are in the show. The scripts are so good. We've been shooting for the last 2 months. Things are going well, and I'm hopeful. Hopefully, the fans will love our season 3, which hopefully will be at the end of the year as well as out. I'm really grateful." With the show, very happy to be back with the cast and crew. So it's been really nice. And that's also a really cool thing because, yes, people are coming out of that COVID craze. So I think that might even be reflected in the show when we won't know until we watch season 3. But that could possibly be one of the reasons that season 2 suffered. I think it might have been because of COVID stuff. I mean, we'll never know, but we'll find out in season 3. I really like this scene though, when the scene that they have imaged here, when this dude walked over and like put his hand on the Believe, and then they all did it. Again, like showing like the camaraderie and everything like that of sports. I really like sports for that sense. As for me, you can find me here on YouTube. Of course, this is my channel, Nina Infinity. So if you guys haven't subscribed, do so. And I will be on Toxic Femininity tomorrow on Midnight's Edge. And Tuesdays, I'm on The Real BBC with Mahler and Gary from Nerdrotic. So catch me on there. And then I think this week I'll be hanging out with John on Wednesday. So lots and lots of streaming. Come and say hello whenever you see me around. Follow me on Twitter and you can find out where I'll be. I usually post it on there as well. So everybody, I hope you have a great week ahead, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Goodbye.
Later, everybody. Let me find Tom Hiddleston naked. Okay, where
Oh
are
yeah, she always
you?
does that for me. Thank you, Dina. That's so thoughtful.
You're welcome.
I'm so sorry.
I'll survive.
I don't doubt it. You're an excellent specimen. I thought you were empty.
I just moved in.